All right, guys, this video is going to be a little different than normal. I wanted to create a video that was a little more personal. I wanted to connect with you guys. I feel like I've had just the craziest year of my entire life, and I haven't been open with you guys about everything that's been going on. And it's literally just been absolute insanity. So, first of all, as you guys can tell by the title, both of my parents passed away this year. And I feel pretty young to lose both of my parents at 43 years young. It's pretty nuts. I know people unfortunately lose their parents even younger than that, or some people don't even experience knowing their parents. So I have sympathy for that, but I still do feel so young to lose my parents. So I wanted to create a video about everything I've learned. I've learned so much through this process. And you guys, it's taken me so long to be able to sit down and create this video. So anyway, I miss my parents so much. And literally, my life just doesn't feel the same. I feel like there's just this empty hole. And I just feel like I have a lot to share with people who might be in relationships that aren't the most positive with their parents or with family members or with people they care about. And a lot that I've learned about lifestyle and how that can affect our longevity and just a lot of inspiration. So that's why I wanted to sit down and do this. You guys may have heard me talk about it in some podcasts, but my dad passed away February 19th of this year. And then 15 days later, my mom passed away. And you guys, it was pretty wild because a couple years ago, my dad had a heart attack and my mom said if anything ever happened to him, like she didn't even want to be here anymore. So here we are. My parents split up when I was 3 years old. So they weren't together when they both passed, but they were the best of friends. And what's really sad and crazy about this whole situation is when my parents broke up when I was little, the divorce was pretty bad and they didn't stay in touch for a long time. And then my dad moved from Canada to America. And I went many years without, I didn't essentially have a dad in my childhood. And then many times when my dad would come for visits, he wouldn't show up. So I know we all go through things. This is one thing that kind of traumatized me as a child because I'd be so excited and I'd be standing out there on the hill waiting for my dad. He wouldn't come. So my dad had a big problem with alcohol in his life, which I believe is a result of his childhood and being in foster care and going through a lot of abuse. Like he had to dress in girls' clothes to go to school. He had to eat off the floor. And he went through a lot of shit. And so I had sympathy with that. But at the time as a kid, you just don't understand. So it wasn't a stable figure. I really essentially had no father. It affected my self-esteem, my confidence. And I essentially felt worthless as a kid. Sorry to cry. Sorry, Kevin. Anyway, really, I had a huge lack of self-esteem in my life until I actually went raw. I know it might sound crazy to people who don't understand, but when I went raw vegan 9 years ago and I only ate real food, it had the most tremendous impact on me of anything in my whole life. It literally helped me instantly work through all traumas, connect to my higher self, connect to God, and just literally feel like I'd always been searching for my whole life. So anyway, what I was getting to with my dad was we didn't have a good relationship. My dad didn't even come to my wedding. My dad was a good person though, with a really big heart, and he was really emotional like me. And my mom was more cold, British, no emotion, and thought I was like bipolar if I showed emotion sometimes. No offense, Mom, rest in peace. I love you. And so anyway, yeah, into my childhood, we didn't have much of a relationship. And then fortunately, the last couple years, my dad actually made some changes with regards to some things in his life, some people around him, and he stopped drinking. His health got bad after having heart problems, diabetes. He had so many health problems, you guys, in his life. Just literally his teeth were pulled when he was younger. I forget exactly how old he was, but he had dentures his whole life because when he was in the foster care, all his teeth were pulled. Can you imagine, you guys? So the guy had been through so much. But then the drinking and the alcoholism really, you guys, if you drink a lot, you're surrounding yourself with the wrong people. And that's a fact. I noticed that when I quit drinking, my whole circle changed. When you're drinking a lot, you don't essentially have any self-respect. And I really believe a lot of people, like myself included, used to act like a victim when I used to drink. And so you're just attracting those types of people. So my dad did make some changes. And he got a lot closer to his family. And I know he said many times, like what he always wanted around him in all those years were his real family. And so that was nice. The last year of my dad's life, we literally turned into best friends. And you know what, you guys? I am so grateful for this because some people pass away and things are just on the worst of terms. And I couldn't thank God enough for the way things transpired in the universe. So just realize like things are working in your favor, and sometimes just things it just felt all meant to be have this crazy way of working out. So let's go back to last summer, you guys, with YouTube. Thanks to you guys. I just want to thank you guys right now. Thanks to you guys, I moved to America because I got a visa that was literally based on my YouTube and based on everything I created. That's how I got approved for my visa. So then I moved to Florida because a big reason of that was because my dad was there and we wanted to get closer, and we just started getting really close and we wanted to be near each other. And so we literally became best friends. You guys, we spent the last year talking to each other like 7 to 14 times a day. And I just felt that love like I'd never had. I'd go to his house and he'd be like, "Your tire is empty. What are you doing? Let's fill up your tire." And just like that fatherly love. And just he would be so proud of me, you guys, for this channel. And I remember when he was at his house, at my house, I was taking care of him for a couple months. My photographer was there with her son, and her son was like, "What's some advice you'd give somebody my age?" And her son was like in his 20s. And my dad said, "Be more like her, like to me about health." So I think my parents, this was one of their biggest regrets, just letting addictions run the way in their life. But anyway, my dad and I, you guys, I'm just so grateful we had all this time to get so close. And I looked after him at my place in Miami last fall, and he literally one night, this was just the best moment of my life, like one of the best moments, where he cried to me in the guest house and he said he'd never literally felt so cared for and loved in his whole life. And he cried in my arms. And it's just like moments like this are just priceless. And I'm so grateful because think it could have just ended totally different and we never got to get close. And so I'm really grateful for that. And then so anyway, he was having health problems, but he got in for a surgery in Florida to see a heart doctor that he was really, really stoked about. And this doctor saved his friend's life. So he was there. And then I had to go back to Canada to help look after my mom because she was at home without any care. Like she was just at home without any at home care. My mom had stage 4 breast cancer come back late last year or August or September. I did try to get her to go to Hippocrates Institute. If something happened to me, I would probably go to Hippocrates Institute or something like that. But she couldn't get any health insurance to come down to Florida for like a while. So she was too scared because she was just scared of the Florida drivers and all sorts of things there. So she didn't come down. She tried some healing institute in Canada that she wasn't happy with. They promised all these things that they didn't have. And then she busted out of there with one of her friends and went to a pub. And that was the end of that. And then she went home. So yeah, February 19th, my dad passed away. And then fast forward to last winter, I think like December, January, February, forget around there. I was with my mom in Canada. If you guys follow me on Instagram, go follow me there. You guys will know that I was doing 30,000 steps a day then. I was like, a lot of you were saying you were so inspired and you guys were getting moving in the snow. I felt amazing because I just couldn't sit around and see my mom decline like this. Like, it's just the most insane thing. Like, that's the person that gave you birth and they're just gone. Like, they were here and now they're just gone. It's the weirdest experience of my whole life. It just makes you wonder, like, what is even real? One day they're here, then they're gone. And I'm a big believer in the afterlife and that they're in a different form now and that they're closer to their godlike essence and that they're like highest self energy and all that now and a light being. But obviously it's hard because you don't really connect with them once they're gone. It's just like, where are you? All these moments every day I have where I want to send them a photo of my kids or a picture or some news and they're just not there. And it's not the same with anyone else. So I just want to say to you guys right now, pick up the phone, call your parents, appreciate that they're there, or your sister, your brother, people that mean something to you. If there's something happening that's like some drama or some stuff, like just say sorry, even if you feel like it's their fault. It doesn't even matter anyway. All that matters is the love we have. And once they're gone, all you'll really remember is them and how cool they were as individuals and all the good times. Like, obviously everybody goes through trauma and shit in their life. I went through stuff with both of my parents. Like I said, with my dad, we really were not in each other's lives for a lot of time. And my mom and I actually throughout my life, we had our battles. And when I was younger, we actually went years without talking. And there's things that we could have held on to and never spoke to each other again, but we didn't. We let it go. And I thank God, because I couldn't imagine if they passed away on those types of terms. And I still think every day now, I'm so grateful for those moments. So you never know what tomorrow holds. You never know what next year holds. I just want to encourage you to just, just see the love, make up with anybody in your life that means something to you, where there might be something going on, even if you have to just slice your ego in half and just let it go. Let it go. Because all this just isn't even real anyway. It's all just craziness, right? But anyway, yeah, I really miss them. So if you have a parent out there, you still have a mom or dad or both, be grateful for that. Call them more. Tell them you love them. Like they need a lot too. It's just not, I used to think, oh, it's what your parents do for you. They're supposed to be the parent. Like they're supposed to let me talk all the time with this and that, but they need you too. They need your love too. Just envelope them in love, spoil them with so much love. Ask what you can do for them. Come over, help them clean. Talk to them about their day, and then watch, like you'll get a reflection of that back and it'll just be amazing. So anyway, back to the crazy story. There's even a lot of legal stuff happening this year. And a lot of stuff that's actually worthy of a Netflix series. And my mom, she was actually really close friends with somebody from Netflix. And right before she passed, a lot of drama was starting. And she was like, you should contact my friend at Netflix because, yeah. So who knows, right? I'm very creative and I could very well maybe put this together one day. Right now, I can't talk about everything that's happening. But behind the scenes, there's been a lot of legal stuff and a lot of crazy stuff that would just blow your guys' mind. But for now, it's just going to stay private because that's just the best thing to do right now. But yeah, February 19th, my dad died. My dad passed away after heart surgery. He went brain dead, and then I think it was about a week later he passed away, and it was just, I didn't expect it. After he had his heart surgery, we thought he was okay, but then I noticed a few days later he was saying things that just didn't make sense. Like he was talking about how one of his friends, ex-friends, he would call them now, after some things that have transpired since he passed away, you know who you are, but was feeding his dog pizza or something, or feeding his dog beer. And it was just things that weren't making sense. And I was like, is that okay? And the doctor was like, yeah, it can happen after surgeries. But then I think he was just starting to decline. He went brain dead. He had to come off life support and he passed away. And then, 15 days later, my mom passed away in a hospice in Collingwood, Ontario. And it was really sad. Fortunately, I got to spend the last little while of my mom's life with her by her side. And that's all she wanted. So even it was just like, honestly, I just thank God for those moments. I still think I'm so grateful because we got to have all those conversations. Sometimes people pass away unexpectedly and you don't get to have those conversations. So those conversations are nice. Even like you see those notebooks online or at the bookstore where it's like, mom, share your story with me, or dad, share your life story with me. I would encourage you to get those for your parents and they can share all their life story, all the things in there, and you can look back at it. It's really nice. But we had a lot of conversations. Like I asked her, what was the best part of your life? And she said that it was having me, and she really meant it. That was nice. Like I never heard her say that before. And I asked her who the loves of her life were, and it was my dad and this other guy she really cared about. And I asked her just all these types of questions, and then she got very spiritual near the end, you guys. I couldn't believe it. It was just almost like she became like this light being, and her skin was glowing. Anytime I'd get her on the FaceTime with somebody or something, they'd be like, your skin. And then she'd be like, people keep saying my skin. And near the end, she just became more and more bedridden. And so we had to move into the hospice. And then she was unable to eat because it can get dangerous if they eat. All she was craving was chocolate. She told me she had no regrets. I asked her multiple times, any regrets? And she couldn't think of any. So I think that's pretty insane and amazing and says a lot about her character. And I just think that's a life well lived if you can't think of any regrets. And my mom had some money. She definitely wasn't a billionaire, but she had money. And I think that she owned restaurants her whole life, ran restaurants, had a big social circle. And I think even if she was a billionaire and had like a ton of money, she would have lived the same life. She would have lived the exact same life she lived. So I think we all just need to realize like this life is short in this avatar. Maybe we come back in another life reincarnated. We don't know for sure. I mean, you hear a lot of near-death experiences where I think maybe that is true. We do experience different forms as different people and all that. But so she lived her best life. She lived the life she would have lived if she was worth $1 trillion. So I think we all just need to do what's true to our heart and what feels right in this life. I feel like I'm doing exactly that. I'm in my passion, in my purpose, making these videos for you guys, inspiring the planet to eat more healthy food. eat more real food. You guys, it's the biggest difference in your whole life. It's really helped navigate me through these times. And I really believe if my parents were eating real food in their life, then I wouldn't be sitting here today making this video for you guys. My mom passed at the age of 67 and my dad passed at 74. I know friends who have family members that just passed in France who were 108 because they said they walked all the time and ate more pure food. So I'm not God. I don't know the answers to health. I don't think I know everything. I could be wrong about everything. I don't know, you guys, but I do know if we walk a lot, if we're really, if we move a lot, we get in nature, we surround ourselves with good people, and we live a clean lifestyle. I know, like, we don't have to live a perfect lifestyle. We can enjoy ourselves on the holidays if we want, or at a wedding, or now and then. But I think it's what we do most of the time that matters. That's what all adds up. That's what builds the cells in us. And it's just the building blocks for our health and our life as we get older. I see people like Chef Babette that are 74 years young and Lou Corona in his 70s, completely thriving and so much energy. I was just in New York. I was interviewing Pauline Adelike. She's 73, so much energy. I was also just interviewing Orville Douglas. He's 63. And I'm not saying these ages are old because they're not. Like, to me, I'm like going to be at my 50s soon. They're not old. So don't think I'm being like, they look good for 63, 74, like it's old, because it's not. 60 is like the new 120, pretty much, right? But all I'm saying is somebody who goes around, makes it their job and their life to like interview all these people. I see such a stark difference in people who really take care of themselves as far as what they consume and consuming real food, not the processed junk, not the fast food, eating real food, moving their body. Then they respect themselves. Then they attract people that respect themselves. And then they're way more likely, in my opinion, the odds are way higher to live a healthier, longer life. So isn't that what we want? I wish my parents had done that, because then maybe they could have seen my children's wedding, seen who my children, perhaps if they get married one day, marry or have kids. And there's just so much more to see. And I wouldn't be feeling so empty right now. It's my life is not the same without them. I'm not going to pretend it is. And I'm not going to pretend I'm perfect. You guys, I really fell off after they passed away. After they passed away, like I said, there was a lot of insanity happening. Somebody tried to shut down one of my parents' funerals. Somebody was creating a lot of chaos that caused my family a lot of pain, like more pain than anybody's ever caused us in my whole life. And things that you just think are evil. You think, how are there even, how I would say to my husband, like, literally, is there God? Because how can God create somebody like this? Like, I don't know. I don't want to get into everything, you guys. So I'm just saying I did fall off. I fell off because I was just in so much pain. And I think with raw food, with whole foods, with juices, with fruits, with nuts, with seeds, with vegetables, and the more whole and pure you eat them, the more unprocessed you have them, the better you feel. And that's kind of my why for eating healthy. That's like, my why is because it makes me feel so good. And my why is, especially now, because, well, I want to live a long life for my kids. But at the time, I was just in so much pain that it didn't matter how healthy I ate. The pain is just there. So then I turned to the dark side. I mean, my dark side is not as bad as a lot of people would think, but I was eating a lot of Chipotle. I started drinking excessive amounts of caffeine, like excessive amounts of matcha and cacao. I was drinking it all day. Like, I would drink 2, 3 large matchas. I was going to Starbucks for matcha. I was drinking cacao smoothies, not even knowing what was really in them sometimes, and just a lot of Chipotle type stuff. And I know, not that bad, whatever. And I'm not hard on myself for it, but I'm just telling you guys, I did fall off. Like, it's definitely not, I'm not perfect over here. And so this went on for a while. And yeah, this went on for a while. Luckily, before my parents had passed, I actually filmed a bulk amount of videos. Sometimes I do this, you guys. I'll get with my amazing cameraman. We'll film a ton of content over a week, and then I'll space it out. So before they just passed, I'd actually filmed so much content. So even though they passed, you guys would have never known, really, unless you heard me mention it more recently in some podcasts, because I just spaced out this content anyway for you guys to have, because I didn't want to just go MIA. But had I not had that, I would have just been MIA on here. But I did fall off for a while. And then recently I've got back on track, and I noticed such a massive difference getting off the stimulants. First of all, stimulants, I don't know, guys. Maybe they're good for some people, but I know they're definitely not good for me, especially in excessive amounts. And I don't know about you guys, but they're like a drug. So I have one and I want 5 more. And then I'm not sleeping. And I just interviewed somebody recently, the doctor from Hippocrates Institute, Dr. Josh. I learned so much. He has studied Alzheimer's and dementia. I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think more than anybody in the world, or definitely he's very well up there. And he's been studying it nonstop the last 6 years. And he says there's about 300 markers for what will cause dementia and Alzheimer's. And number one is a lack of deep sleep. So if I had kept on the caffeine, just bout I was on, it just is, I was not sleeping. Then I started taking gummies, you guys. And it was just like, I need these gummies to sleep. Then I'm drinking these stimulants. And I mean, I noticed a huge difference. It was not serving me at all. So then when I got back to clean eating, I got back into my lifestyle. I got back on cleaner than ever. So maybe if you're in a setback period right now, just realize maybe it's not a bad thing because it might propel you higher than ever. So try not to beat yourself up. But I think when we know better, we do better. When we know how it is to feel good, it's hard to feel bad because then you're like, oh my God, it feels so good over there. How am I over here? So I got back on track. I'm back. I'm better than ever. Just got back from New York, filmed some great content for you guys. If some of that's up, I'll put it down below. But I just want to say, like, I noticed such a massive difference getting off all of that and then eating pure food. I've been eating mostly through the day fruit, coconut water, and green juices, in season fruit, and then a big, massive salad at night with a lot of herbs, a lot of dill, basil, cilantro, and good quality greens and vegetables, sauerkraut, avocado, like not even really making dressings. And I felt like $1,000,000. So, especially if you're going through hard times, I think it's okay to let yourself fall off for a bit, but pick yourself up because you'll just be so much more equipped and stronger to handle the situation, work through it, get through that trauma, and get yourself out better on the other side. And I want to make my parents proud. I want to make them happy. I don't want to just, they would not want to see me fall off. They were so proud of this channel, you guys, and they just loved seeing me help people. And they felt so good about this channel, but they didn't have the healthiest lifestyle, you guys. So I just want to encourage you guys, if you're out there and you're drinking, it's not worth it. My dad spent a lot of his life drinking and it caused him a lot of health problems. And when you drink, you don't really care how much you eat. So you have no problem just eating barbecue, eating crap, eating the pizza. My dad was a hardworking businessman. And you guys, he built himself up from nothing, from foster care to a very successful business owner in Florida. My dad was definitely not a victim in a lot of regards. He could have just spent his whole life like, how dare you, with the foster people. And he really let things go. And I admired him for that. So and my dad was the funniest guy you ever met. I get it from him. You guys don't really see me too funny on here, but whenever I'm hanging out with my friends in real life or people, they're like, oh my God, Jill, I had no idea how funny you were. And I get it from him. So we got to laugh, right? So they want to see me happy. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to make them proud. I'm going to make better videos than ever for you guys. So make sure you subscribe because there's just literally the best videos ever coming. So subscribe in honor of my parents. Give this a thumbs up in honor of my parents, but we're not done yet. And my mom, she had a vaping problem. So if you have a vaping problem, if you know somebody you know who has a vaping problem, I encourage you to quit because I think this shit is not good. Like this shit is insane. So my mom spent a lot of years smoking cigarettes since she was like 16 years old. She had some trauma and stuff in her childhood and her life, like nothing. Like her parents were great. I was so close to them, but obviously there's always still some stuff that happens. None of us have a perfect household, do we? Except for maybe Eli Martyr. I know you and you were just perfect. So the best household I think you came from. But let me know down below, you guys. Like I'm sure most people experience some things, whether inside their house or outside their house. And oh yeah. So yeah, my mom smoked for decades and although she was somewhat health conscious when I was little, she had a garden, always made sure to have fruit and vegetables around, stuff like that. It was awesome. When she smoked her whole life, with the exception of 10 years, she took off. She quit for 10 years, you guys. And then she started smoking again around 2005. So when her and one of her partners separated. And I was like, oh no. And then she could never stop since then. And I remember I said to her in the last couple of years of her about to pass away, like you quit for 10 days then. If you could quit then, you could do it again. So if you did something once, you can do it again. And she was just addicted, like nonstop. And rest in peace. I'm not at all trying to like disrespect or talk bad. Hopefully, as the light being she is in heaven, she can see I'm just trying to help other people through her experience. I would hope. Hopefully she doesn't come back to haunt me because I know she did mention she was going to come back and haunt a couple people who were trying to burn me before she passed away. So she's up there working hard. But yeah, she vaped pretty hard. If there was a model for the vaping association, she would have been it. She never let that thing go down. It owned her. It owned her so much that in the final week of her life, when she couldn't even like eat or anything and she was laying in bed, she was smoking like this, like an imaginary vape. It was the saddest shit I ever saw. And I sat there by her side the last week of her life and I cried and I cried and I cried. And I was just like, how is this real? And I think she looked at me just thinking, oh no, like she was just more worried about me because she knows I'm emotional. And she was like, our family's English, like from England, and she was just more, and I'm not saying everybody in England is like cold and not emotional. I'm not saying that. Like I'm from England too, my family, but I'm very emotional and she wasn't. So I think she was more worried like, "Oh no, is Gillian going to be okay?" Luckily I have a lot of family that surrounded me and that's amazing. So that helps so much. I have a lot of family members that I got a lot closer to that I didn't expect. So God really pulls through in these hard times. But yeah, I was right by her side when she passed away. And it was crazy because at the hospice, this is just a little story time for you guys. At the hospice, they were saying when people pass away, we open the window so we can let out their soul. Oh, and just one thing. Okay. I always had this thing, you guys, where NASCAR, my dad loved NASCAR. He was the biggest NASCAR fan. And my dad was a big car guy. He owned like an automotive shop. My dad had so many cars, so many motorcycles. He was big into it. And my thing was, oh, if I see signs from my dad, it's like NASCAR or the color blue, because like that was his favorite color. Same with my mom. And then right when we got into the hospice, we were like a few days coming. It was such a nice hospice too. It wasn't like a hospice. It was like, it felt like a home. So shout out, I forget what it's called. It was in Collingwood, Ontario. So we got in and guess what was on the TV? NASCAR. We were all like, oh my gosh, my dad's coming together. Finally, they could just be together, even though it never really panned out that way on the earth for the last number of decades. But anyway, so when she passed away, I was by her side. It was like March 6th. I'd laid with her all night in the little hospice bed, right, like touching her. And I woke up because I heard her take like a big yawn. It was like, and I was like, oh, is that you, Elaine? Her friend was right there, her hot redhead friend. Hey, Elaine. And then Elaine was like, no, that wasn't me. That was her. And then I looked and that was her last breath. That's exactly what it sounded like. I don't know if you guys have been near anybody when they pass away, but it sounded like a big yawn. And then she was gone. And then it just felt so weird to be sitting. I had sat there by her side the whole week. I only left, I think, like one night. And I was just ordering Uber Eats. I was having freshie bowls, rice bowls. I was eating whatever there because I was just like, whatever. And it was the weirdest thing when she was gone. And they were like, do you want to stay for the ceremony? They were like, we're going to play her song. Hers and my dad's song was Bob Seger, Night Moves, because they used to have like a van in the 70s called Night Moves. And my mom had a car, Night Moves too. And they were like the coolest parents you'd ever meet. They were so cool. Now that they're gone, I just look at them like they were such icons. Like I should have just celebrated them more for who they are, not so much like, oh, you did this to me, you did that to me. Like, who cares? Let it go. Our parents aren't perfect. Our parents have been through so much shit too. Like, I think we have these ideals like, oh, our parents should do this, should do that. And then once I have kids, I'm going to like do everything perfect. No, I've screwed up so much as a mom and as a parent. And like, I'm sure your parents have too. And just let it go. Like, just let it go. Who cares? Let it go. I think the more we fill ourselves with love and happiness and forgiveness, first of all, that's anti-aging. It makes you feel good. It just puts you in alignment with your true self, your highest self, your God self. Because the other side of things, the judgment, the hate, the shame, the guilt, the anger, like that's not real. It's just, I think we're on this planet to experience those. So we really know what the love and all that side of stuff is. But anyway, they did this little ceremony for Night Moves and I just could not handle it, you guys. So I got out of there as soon as she was out of her body. But guess what? So you know how I was saying a little story time, when they passed away there, they opened the window. We went to the window to open the window to let her out. So we opened the window, we went back and we were standing by her for like a minute. It was like a good amount of time. It was like a minute or two. And then guess what? Right near the windowsill, something then smashed off the window that would have never, it wasn't like loose on the sill or something. We were like, oh, that's her. So that was pretty incredible, but it's been really hard ever since. It's been 10 times harder than I ever in a million years would have imagined. I have no words, and I know people experience worse. Like obviously I think losing your children would be worse, and I just like, oh my God. And there's obviously things that people experience are worse, but it's still been very hard. So I want to say, like, DM me on Instagram if you guys are going through grief or going through something, because I can relate to you. Grief is such a weird thing. Like, it's like people say, like, it just hits you like a ton of bricks, and it really does. I've never experienced grief like this. Sometimes I'll think I am okay, and then the thing is, like, especially with your parents, you're constantly reminded. Like, I'll call for my credit card balance. What's your mother's birthday? Or what's your father's this? Everywhere you go, like, there's a lot of reminders. So I've learned it's not about avoiding it. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I'm still having a really hard time, to be honest. That's why it's taken me this long to make a video like this. But I was hoping maybe I could inspire you. If you're going through things with parents or holding on to anything, just let it go. Just pick them up. Pick up the phone. Say, I'm sorry. Ask them for lunch. Think not what can they do for me, but what can you do for them? I think when people are suffering about things, like I'm not talking about like physically so much, but they're suffering inside, maybe it's because they're just thinking about themselves too much. So let's think about what can we do for other people? Because I really feel like our life on this earth is not what have you done for me, but what can I do to serve others? I really think that start doing that and then your whole life will turn around. So make things right with your parents. If you have things that are right with your parents, make them even better. Like get close to them. Do a lot for them while you're here, while they're here, because they're not going to be around forever. And yeah, so I told you guys too, my mom, she had the smoking problem and my dad had a drinking problem most of his life and didn't eat very healthy. And neither one of them were very physically active. My dad, as soon as he retired and sold his company and stuff like that, he did notice a massive amount of health problems start very quickly after that. And I don't know if that's maybe because at his business, he was moving around all day, right? When you own an automotive shop, you're going to the cars, you're going to the front, you're like moving around a lot. And then maybe you're just more stimulated with your mind and with, socially and with other things. And then when you're just like home, it could be different if you don't create other things to do. And so he wasn't very active at all. And he would admit that, like he knew near the end. I think that's why he said that to my photographer's son, like I told you guys. And my mom, she didn't live a very active life. She always ran restaurants, super social, really cool. Same with my dad, like the coolest people you'd ever meet, 10 times cooler than me, the coolest people you'd ever meet. And my mom wasn't active. She wasn't active. She would go for the odd walk or stuff. She hated being in the gym. She hated drinking water. Some people say cancer is, this is what I've heard some people say. I don't know if this is true. They say it's a accumulation of extremely dehydrated body on a cellular level. I mean, I'm sure that's somewhat part of the case. She wasn't properly hydrated. Neither was my dad. They weren't properly hydrated. My mom's favorite thing was those rotisserie chickens from like the grocery stores. I'm sure those aren't healthy to eat like almost all the time. A lot of meat. They both ate a lot of meat. My mom ate a lot of steak, like excessive amounts. I get if you guys don't want to be vegan, but maybe just cut it back, and maybe just eat whole foods and then cut back the meat portions so they're not like a drastic amount. Maybe just have it like a couple times a week or something. Or if you have to have it every day, have a little amount and then the plants are like a massive part of your plate. I think that's really important because I interview so many people. I see so many things. I see people who have hardcore diabetes and they reverse it on a low fat plant based diet or just so many amazing transformations. And my mom, she was into green juicing. She loved green juicing when she had cancer. So shout out Nama. She loved using her Nama. I have a cute little video of her. I'll try to put it on the screen right now. If you guys want a Nama, get one. You can save today. And my mom and dad would love to see you guys buying the Nama. They always love seeing people get Namas, getting healthier. So I did try and encourage her to do a green juice cleanse. And it was hard for her to stick to that. She's like, I feel hungry. And it was hard for her to stick to raw. When she very first got diagnosed with cancer a couple years ago, it was a lesser stage. She went raw in the first 30 days and she called me. She said, I never felt better in my whole life. But then she got really scared. So she got radiation. She got a lot of her lymph nodes removed. And then once she did that, ever since then, I guess because her lymph system couldn't process all the toxicity too, all the vape, and she loved her Mars bars and stuff like that in bed. Her arm was like swollen like the Michelin Man from the lymph node stuff. So yeah, it was one thing after another. It was so sad when she called me when she first got diagnosed again with stage 4 last August or September. She called me crying, and I probably only heard my mom cry twice in my whole life. So I was like, uh-oh, I know something's wrong. And then I called my dad. He started crying. So yeah, it's crazy to think like a year ago they were here and now they're gone. So I just want to encourage you guys because you never know what's going to happen this time next year, this time next month, this time tomorrow. Like life can just be crazy. So pick up the phone, maybe make a list. The people who are important to you, nurture those relationships and stop thinking, what can they do for me and what can you do for them? And then before you know it, the more you serve them, the more the universe and these people will be serving you back 10 times of what you give out. And just show them lots of love. And I want to encourage you to live a healthier lifestyle. Maybe not so much push it on them. I tried with my mom, even when she had cancer. I called her. I remember I was filming in California, I think with like Lou Corona and some people. And I called her and I was crying. And I was like, please, can you please just quit the vape? I was like, I'm not God. I don't know everything, but I know this is not healthy. I know this cannot be helping you. Can you please quit? And I called crying and she hung up on me. So it's hard. I think she knew. She just sometimes these things get a hold on people, even in the face of the greatest health challenges. Like my mom, even with stage 4, she couldn't quit the vape. She didn't quit the vape. Some of her friends would go over to her house and she'd be answering the phone, answering the door with the vape. And I remember this one friend said, I looked at her with the vape and she said, if you have anything to say, you know where the door is. I think she knew. It's just these things get a hold on people, right? These addictions, even a great health crisis. Fortunately, a lot of people get a great health crisis and they are just like, oh my gosh, I want to quit and I want to take charge and I want to make these changes and do what I think might help or try different healthy things. But not everybody, I wish this stuff was banned, the vape and all these bad things. I wish they didn't exist on this planet. But instead of waiting for a health crisis, like be the inspiration, be the change, focus on yourself, be the light, think how you can serve people, and don't wait for a health crisis to deal with something. Just try prevent that. Live your best life, you guys. And yeah, I think that's it for today. I'm sure I'll lay in bed and think of 10 other things I could have said to hopefully inspire you guys. But I just want to say, like, eat healthy, eat real whole foods. I'm pretty sure if my parents had eaten whole foods, even if it was cooked, even if they were eating a little bit of animal products, but mostly whole foods, hopefully lots of raw living foods. You eat living foods, you feel alive. Like Dr. Fred Bishy, he's 96 years young. He's like 40 or 50 years raw. I talked to him on the phone the other day. I had told him about my parents and he was just so empathetic and nice. And when I was talking to him, it was like talking to a 30-year-old. So these foods, they give us life. Dead foods, they create that, right? In my opinion, they really create that. So eat more life today. And what I've really learned too is it's about having a positive outlook and a really positive mindset. I think that is really important too. It's not just the food, it's not just the movement. I've noticed like the people who live a long life, like they really let things go. They don't hold on to things where they think, how dare this person did that to me? How dare this person? How could this happen to me? They don't hold on to those things. And I think it's easier to let go of those things if you're moving a lot, you're eating healthy, but they just let things go. So incorporate a positive mindset. Do whatever you need to do that. For me, it's really next to impossible to have a positive mindset if I'm not eating clean, if I'm not moving, if I'm surrounding myself with the wrong people. And also, I did want to let you guys know I did try and have a glass of wine this year after my mom's wedding. It was the first time since I don't know when. I spent a decade at least drinking every single night before I went raw. I would say I was an alcoholic, but I was a functioning, right? It's normal. I was functioning alcoholic. I didn't think I was. And sometimes people, you guys, if you're an alcoholic, you're acting like a real victim. That's what I've noticed. That's what I used to do. And that's what I've noticed some other people do. So if you're struggling with alcohol, take charge. Sometimes you don't even really know how it's affecting you until you get out of it, like a bad relationship. But I used to sit around, drink every night and be like, oh my God, this person did this, kind of blame the world for everything. And when you're going to act like a victim, you're going to attract more people, situations, and circumstances that treat you like a victim. So you don't want to be like that. You're better than that. You are here to live your best life. God put you on this earth to feel amazing and not to need alcohol, drugs, or processed food. Like eat the real food and you'll feel how God intended you to feel. It's a massive difference. So I feel that now that I got back on track. And when I tried to have that glass of wine, I couldn't even drink it. It literally smelled and tasted like poison now that I've gotten so clean. So when you give up all that crap, your body just literally rejects it. So don't think it's going to be just darkness and boring on the other side because it's so much better. And thank God I live a clean lifestyle because losing my parents like this, it'd be pretty easy if I was still drinking to just really go down. So my parents would want to see me happy. Those loved ones we've lost, they want to see us living our best life. And just one more thing, guess what, you guys? I've really been struggling, crying all the time. This year, just randomly, I'll sit for dinner with my family and I'll break into tears or like, it's just, oh my God. And I had a dream. My mom actually came to me in a dream. You hear of this happening. And it was like probably like a month ago. And being my mom's self that she was, I was crying in the dream and I was sitting with somebody. I was like, oh my God, like crying, kind of being like a victim. But I mean, not really, because obviously look what's happened, right? We have to process that. And she was like, snap out of Gillian. Stop being so ridiculous. And that was so her. Like that was so her. If I was emotional, it's just like, look out, just stop. You're being ridiculous. And she was literally being like that in my dream. And then I woke up, I was like, whoa, this actually probably was her from the other side trying to communicate with me because that's how she was. And then my friend was like, yeah, you know, they say some people on the other side, they kind of have like a bit of the same personality traits. Do you guys think? I don't know. But it felt so real, like I can't even put into words. And then it did kind of snap me out of it. I thought, you know what? She probably does think I'm being ridiculous because I don't know, you guys. I watched a lot of near-death experiences and they say once you get to the other side, that's what's really real. And you wake up and you're like, whoa, that's what's really real. So this is all just a game. So let's have fun with it. Let's make it our best. Let's treat each other how we want to be treated. Because I really believe once we die, we go through that window like my mom did and we get to the other side, we're all going to have a life review. And from what I hear with these life reviews, we go through, we experience our entire life, every single moment from our birth till the moment we die. And you see this over and over with people that have life reviews. or where they have near-death experiences where they temporarily pass away. It just seems too real to me for all these people to experience this, that they experience this life review where they feel not from their perspective, their life review, but from other people's perspective, how they made them feel in every single instance. So I encourage you today to treat people well, not only in your actions and your words, but your thoughts as well, because our thoughts have so much power. We are just more powerful than I think we even realize. So let's take charge today. Let's be healthy. Let's live long lives so that you're around for a while, so your kids have you for a while, so you can help with your grandkids, so you can meet your grandkids, so you can help them like I think we were meant to do, so you can serve them and you can be there for them and you can guide them with all your wisdom. And I think we need to show so much more respect for people as they get older in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s. I think, where has the respect gone? I was talking to my friend in the Bronx yesterday and she was like, when I moved from the Caribbean, she noticed that there was a huge lack of respect with the kids when she moved over to North America and how they treated teachers and family members. And I think we still need to get a lot of that respect back. Like, our elders are so wise, they know so much, and we need to listen and learn more from them. And I know once they're gone, we'll wish we did. So let's learn, let's treat them as the vintage treasures that they are. And let's just make everything better. Obviously, it's not perfect. We're going to have a lot of crap down here too. It's the planet of polarity. And it's just, that's what we're at. The sun, the moon, the dark, the light, the day, the night. Like, we have to experience both to know the light. So yeah, I hope this inspired you. I hope it wasn't just rambling too much, you guys. But if you don't follow me already, be sure to, because on this channel, we just strive to make you live your best life in every way possible and equip yourself to be your healthiest, your clearest minded, to eat more plant foods, no matter what your lifestyle. Even if you're not vegan, you're welcome on this channel. My whole family's not vegan. I don't judge. I'm just all about people eating more plants, whether raw, whether cooked. Get moving, you guys. I heard Clint eat some, when I was walking, 20 to 30,000 steps a day. I'm not sure what that is in miles. Somebody let me know down below. I'm Canadian originally, but I love America and I love living here now too. Somebody said they saw an interview with, I think, Clint Eastwood. Am I right? And they said when he was 94, he said his reason for health was because walking 10 miles a day. I think that sounds right. Not 10 kilometers. I think it was 10 miles. So it does a world of difference. I think walking is the healthiest exercise we can do. When I'm doing like 20, 30,000 steps a day, takes away all your problems, clears your head. It's what got me through seeing my mother just decline in her health. And yeah, I can't remember if I told you guys too, right before she died, she kept saying, "Do you still believe in God?" She was just randomly saying like all these godly things. And it was a really beautiful process. So at the end of the day, I'm blessed. I got close to my dad. I got to see my mom and have all these amazing conversations. So go have those conversations today. And one last tip, if I could give you any piece of advice, one thing I think your parents love hearing more than anything is for you to pick up the phone or you to send them a text and say, "Thank you for my life." I think that's just like literally the best thing you could say to them. I heard somebody say that and I said that to both of my parents and it's just, and then one time one of my daughters, my 6-year-old, she said it to me randomly, and I don't even think she heard me talking about this ever. She said just happily, because she's so happy, "Thank you for my life." And I was like, wow, that does feel so good. So call your parents today, say "Thank you for my life" and mean it, and watch. It's a good thing. We want to do good things. We want to make people feel good, right? Not only because it makes them feel good, but because we're probably going to experience the exact feeling when we have our life review. So anyway, guys, be sure to subscribe. Lots of amazing videos coming soon. Lots of great collabs, because I love collabing with people. And let me know if you guys like the solo podcast, and I'll bring you more. And if not, then I'll bring you less. And I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.